welcome back to the Breaker Bros, and we doing our instant reaction to the Bengals 26-25 loss to the Chiefs. So, what's your initial thoughts?
I mean, that was better. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I say that the refs are cheating so much that I'm starting to go the other way. Like, that wasn't that bad of a call, you know? So, I mean, it just seems like every single time the Bengals play the Chiefs, the game ends in a penalty that sets the Chiefs up for points, you know? So,
yeah, I mean, for the most part, it didn't seem like they were calling that many penalties on either side.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the only thing I would say when it comes to the officiating, I felt like Trey Hendrickson was basically getting held pretty much for the first 3 quarters the whole time.
Yeah.
Broski had him in a chokehold every single time. And they only called it once until he got clotheslined.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, they could have called that a little bit more. But, I mean, overall, I mean, it wasn't necessarily officiating that, I guess, caused the loss. I mean, if it comes down to anything, it's just the lack or the inability to stop the run and stop those big, I guess, gashes. But I mean, it was a weird game because it felt like the Bengals were in control the majority of the time. The defense, for the most part, played pretty good because they cost 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble. But yeah, the run defense looks like a liability. I think 2 of our starting defensive tackles got hurt at the end. But I mean, overall, the Bengals looked a lot better than what they did last week. I mean, that was one of the first things I notated was that they didn't go 3 and out right away, which was nice. They got the tight ends involved.
Yeah. Well,
so
no, I feel like I was wrong because I was like, Zach Taylor doesn't listen to us, but I guess he does because he did everything we said with the tight ends and Eric All and all that. So
yeah, they were lining Eric All up as a fullback a few times. I'm not sure if you saw that. And then
no, I like that.
And then as far as the play calling, I felt this week was a lot more creative versus last week because I saw Chase all over the place. He was even in the backfield a few times.
Yeah.
Burrow looked good. I mean, there was a few times where we probably should have scored a touchdown in the red zone. So, I mean, good for the Chiefs defense for making us have to kick a field goal.
Yeah.
I guess that's another thing. We missed an extra point. So had we made that, it's a tie game right now. So,
well, they would have just thrown a couple more flags to get the touchdown.
I mean, that's a possibility, but I didn't think the refs.
No, I'm kidding this time. This time I'm kidding. I don't feel like it was as egregious as in the past.
Yeah, I mean, maybe looking back after the emotions die down, maybe it was a ticky-tack call at the end because I felt like they both were going up for it. I mean, I could see why maybe they would call a passer interference, but
yeah, I mean, he bumped him a touch early, but I mean,
but he was going for the ball though. That's the thing. I feel like if it's like a jump ball situation, kind of like that, then it's 50-50. It's not like
right. Do you throw a penalty on a Hail Mary, right?
So how's it not pass interference on the defense?
Bump and grind on Hail Marys, right?
Or how's it not passer interference on the offense, right? It's like he jumped a bit too short, or I guess they both did. So the pass was technically overthrown a little bit, but it's just one of those things, man. If you just let it play out, or if you didn't get their hair early, then the Bengals most likely win that game. They just run out the clock.
Yeah, or if you just go for the ribs, or if you go for a kill shot, he's not going to catch it, right? Or would they call that defenseless player?
Yeah, and then the whole Chase thing at the end was bad. Him not controlling his emotions. I mean, I get it. I mean that's the risk you run when you don't have a full off season. It's going to take a little while to kind of get back in sync and get everything good. But yeah, it's just it was a weird game. I mean, obviously the Chiefs are a really good team. But yeah, I mean, it just felt like the whole game, the Bengals were in control for the most part. And then obviously that fumble with Burrow where he fumbles and they get a touchdown off that. had he not scored. I don't know. It seemed like in the defense towards the second half, they were stopping the Chiefs a little bit more. Like in the first half, it just felt like they were just running at will, and unless they had a fumble or an interception, we weren't really stopping them. But then the second half was different. It felt like the defense was actually stopping their offense. But then when you have those silly mistakes at the end, because right before Burrow fumbles, Gesicki drops a pass that should have been for a first down. You know, it's just like, but I feel like that's the NFL. Every other play matters. It's like it's a cumulative effect, and it's just like you keep having little
it's hard to blow
mistakes
teams out in the NFL, but
because Mahomes did not have a good game at all. I mean,
yeah,
it was actually kind of shocking how because that first interception where you threw it to Gaither Davis or Davis Gaither. I was looking at Pacheco. I was like, oh, he's going to throw it right to Pacheco because he was like wide open in the flats. But he didn't even look at him. He just threw it in the middle. He didn't even see that linebacker.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
Kelsey was like triple covered.
How much of that do you think is like you just trust that if Kelsey settles into a zone somewhere that it's open? You know?
I don't think he saw the linebacker for some reason. But
outside
of that, there were still two other
players
players on him. There was a safety behind him.
I'm just saying something else, though. I'm saying, like, I wonder if he just relies on Kelsey. Like, if Kelsey settles someplace, he just trusts that it's open. Like, maybe that's just how he's been doing it forever. You know, like maybe he doesn't look, he just reacts, and he just feels like if he's settled in like that, that's going to be open, right?
Yeah, it was kind of a crazy play. Just like I said, I was like kind of paying attention to Pacheco that one instance, and he was like wide open in the flats. So I thought for sure he was going to throw it to him because he may have gotten like 15 or 20 yards. It would have been a pretty big play because there was like no one there. But yeah, I think it is one of those things where you just assume Kelsey's going to do something with it. But I mean, really, it was just a bad read by him. The linebacker was there the whole time, so it's kind of weird that he threw it. And then Cam Taylor-Britt, that was another big play when he gave up that touchdown. But then he made up for it with that interception. That was a pretty sweet interception. I mean, had we won, that would have been the thumbnail with his one-handed pick.
Yeah.
But I decided to go with Chase because I felt like that was kind of, I guess, the overall feel of the game. Just too much frustration at the end. I'm sure a lot of us Bengals fans are upset as well, frustrated. It sucks because they played good enough to win, and that was a game that they should have won. But I do think, well, it was weird because like I said, the defensive end or defensive tackles kept on getting hurt. PJ Hill and then Rankins. But even then, when they were hurt, I felt like the defense was playing fine. It really felt like the first half where they were giving up those big run plays, or it just seemed like the Chiefs' offense was just going down the field at will.
Yeah, it seemed like Hubbard was playing a little bit more inside, which I like that him as a defensive interior guy.
So very similar to last week in the second half, they were putting like 5 defensive linemen down like on obvious run plays. So I noticed that, and then there were times. Yeah, you're right. Hubbard was like on the other side, helping with the run stop, which it seemed to be pretty effective. So they were moving things around. I'm sure part of it had to do with like some of the players getting hurt. Because it was just like towards the end of the game.
I mean, defensive interior wasn't like a depth, like a good strength of the team to begin with, and then they have all these injuries kind of accumulating on the defensive line. That's bad.
I think we got a troll. It says bailed out by Mahomes cheats on wife. Okay, maybe this is a Bengals fan.
Oh yeah.
Patrick Mahomes out for the season with lower back injury. That's not for no. Did you hear anything about an injury?
No. It's cute.
Yeah, like I said, that I don't know if the game is on the line. Do you call that penalty? But it means the Chiefs at home.
Well,
I mean,
okay. Again, on a Hail Mary, how come they never throw penalty flags on Hail Marys?
Yeah.
Don't they always like bump into each other in the end zone? Like, how's this different?
I guess because if it's a true Hail Mary where like everyone's running down to the end zone and like you have to score a touchdown, it's a very small percentage play. So they just kind of let things play.
That was a small percentage play. It was 4th and 15.
Yeah, it was. I think it was more than that. It was like 4th and 16, right, or whatever.
It was like a wounded duck arm punt.
Yeah, and he, I think, technically overthrew him. So it was just like Anthony got there like a hair early. But is Mahomes really hurt? Can anyone verify that? Because I might have to check that out.
Anyone? Who are you talking to?
The chat. Supposedly
the
there's
chat?
3 people watching. So if one of the 3 people are watching knows, let me know.
Okay, I do not think he's hurt. I think
Nah.
I think people are.
I mean, if anyone's hurt, it might be Pacheco. But
yeah, he might be hurt.
But yeah, I couldn't see where Mahomes got hit to where he would be hurt. But yeah, I mean, at least they played a lot better. The offense looked like the offense a little bit more. And I think, again, they actually had a full week to prepare and knew what to expect. Because I think with Higgins getting hurt late kind of affected the game plan going into last week. But, man, that's 2 really close games. It feels like last week was a little bit more of a snooze fest. It just didn't seem like that much was going on. And this was like the opposite. It just felt like it was nonstop. It was pretty competitive throughout the whole time.
Yeah, but I mean, I mean, this went better than I was expecting. But the reality is the Bengals are 0-2. Last place AFC North, right?
With Ravens?
With the Ravens, yeah. The Ravens, I mean, Bengals have not played good in the division lately, so I mean they need to start stacking wins. So
yeah, I need to figure out what we're going to do with the defensive tackles because I did you hear what happened to Rankins? Because the injury to Hill didn't look that good, and I'm not really sure what happened to Rankins. Because normally when I watch it, I always keep the volume down because more often than not, the announcers tend to get on my nerves. So I'd rather listen into silence and just kind of observe. But yeah, I don't know. I feel good overall because they showed what they were capable of, the Bengals versus last week. But it still sucks because again, that was a game that they should have won. We were winning in the turnovers battle 3-1, but that one turnover was costly because it ended up being a touchdown. I guess the weird thing after that was they went for the 2-point conversion, and Dak still got that pass breakup at the end, or in the back of the end zone, which was pretty nice. But then it goes back to McPherson missing his extra point. If he makes that, then the game is technically tied at the end, and it would have put a lot more pressure on them. But yeah, that 4th and 16 or whatever it was, and getting that PI just really lit the air out of the ball. I felt like, at least on the Bengals sideline.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, the game was over at that point.
Not necessarily, because I don't know if it was
you need a fumble, otherwise you lose.
Well, I just don't assume that a kicker is going to make a field goal at the end of the game. Because I was thinking, if
we've seen
McPherson,
this movie so many times, we know he makes the kick.
He's a great kicker, but at the same time, I wasn't sure if there's like weird things going on with the wind. Because when McPherson missed that extra point, I could assume maybe it was windy. But I also, when I was watching it, it seemed like the hold was not that great because I felt like he was kind of late turning the ball, and that may have affected it. But then I wasn't sure if it was like the wind because that's what I was thinking towards the end. I was like, okay, if McPherson missed an extra point, maybe it was just windy, and then maybe that 51-yard field goal that he had to kick at the end was not just like a shoo-in. But no, he nailed it. So.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that stinks about this whole thing is, another beginning of the season where the Bengals play like crap. Or that's probably too strong. Another beginning of the season where the Bengals go 0-2. I feel like they've done that before. And then the whole point of the whole excuse for starting slow is, well, we're going to minimize injury. But, we've got 4 defensive linemen out. Not even 4 defensive linemen. 4 defensive tackles out already.
Yeah.
Week 2. We've lost 4. plus the defensive end, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I feel like they might have
it's
to
like
trade.
the worst of both worlds.
To me, what makes the most sense, especially with everything that's going on right now, because maybe our second round pick, I can't think of his name right now, Jenkins, maybe he can play next week, because there was thought that he could play this week, or at least that's what I heard. Hopefully he can make it back next week, because if not, then if I think BJ Hill might be out for a little bit. His injury looked pretty bad. I'm not sure what was going on with Rankins, but he seemed, even in the first game, he had a moment where it took him a while to get up, and then there was 2 moments in this game where he got down or hurt, and it took a while to get up, and then that second time he walked out to the locker room or back into the locker room. So if our defensive tackles, or at least the starters, are going to be out for a little bit, then they're going to have to pick someone up, I feel like, or
I mean,
possibly trade for someone.
This franchise trading for someone.
That's how we got BJ Hill. I feel like Hudson.
They rarely do in-season trades.
Yeah, but they may. I mean, is there any decent?
There's never any good defensive lineman available. That's like one of the hardest positions to fill. You know, defensive. I mean, it's like the hardest positions to find players is 1, quarterback, and then 2 would be probably edge rusher, and then 3, well, tackles after that, right? Tackles, defensive tackles, offensive tackles. It's just, they're hard to find. So, I mean, they're probably going to have to raid somebody's practice squad, grab some guys.
Well, I think we have a few on our practice squad that we could potentially bring up. I think there was a guy that we got from Dallas that's supposed to be pretty big.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm pretty excited to see our rookies play, the ones that we drafted. I mean, had they not been hurt, because I feel like the reason why we brought them in is that they kind of specialize in stopping the run, especially Jenkins. But we were always high on McKinley Jackson, so I'm like really looking forward to him playing, because I feel like
if they're hurt, they can't play.
Well, no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're officially, he won't be back until the 4th, or I guess technically it would be the 5th week, right? Because I think if you're on IR, you have to miss. I'm pretty sure if you go onto the IR, you have to miss 4 games.
Is it
like
4?
It's a minimum of 4.
It's like 4 to 6, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think there's like a window. Yeah, like you can come back after the 4th week or whatever, but then you have up to like the 8th week or something if you can't, and then I think you have to like basically go on to reserve. I don't know. I feel like they've changed it up like a lot the last 2 or 3 or 4 years or whatever. So
yeah.
But yeah, it seems like we're getting really thin at defensive tackle, which is one of our pain points. It seems like the run defenses tackling looked a little bit better, but I mean, if you're still giving up like 4 or 5 yards a pop, I mean, it really doesn't incentivize them to not run. Because like in the first half, the only way the Bengals were stopping the offense was or the Chiefs' offense was turnovers. Like they got that pick and then that fumble. But then in the second half, they played way better. I felt like the defense, as far as just like naturally stopping them on like downs or whatever, not really relying on the turnover.
So you have to be out for 4 weeks, and then you get a 5-week window to be in practicing.
Okay, so you have up to 9 weeks.
Once you start practicing, you have 3 weeks to get on.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's a little bit more complicated. Okay.
And then if healthy enough, he must stay on the PUP list for the rest of the season. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, 5 weeks. So they had to come back between week 5 and week 10. And once they come back to practice, they have to start playing, or they have to be on the roster within 3 weeks, or else they're out for the rest of the season.
Well, I'm really hoping to see McKinley Jackson by week 5, because I feel like
so that means Jackson's out till at least week 5, and then
at least,
and then it depends on how quickly Chris Jenkins is ready after surgery.
Yeah, well, it was weird because like even with the surgery, they said he still had a chance to play relatively soon. Like they were even talking about the same week, but then they held him out the last couple weeks because I think he technically got hurt right before the season started or going into week 1. And they were still talking about, he could still play, and then he had surgery, and there's still saying he could play maybe in a week or 2. But But yeah, I mean, it feels like he's gonna have to play next week for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be practice squad dudes or street free agents, or I don't know if there's like a veteran, that didn't play this year that maybe could suit up and be ready to play within.
I think the Bengals have two defensive tackles that are on the practice squad. It's that dude from that came from Dallas, and then I think Dominic Davis. Did he make the practice squad?
I don't know. I guess we
see if I can try to pull it up real quick. Practice. Let's see. Okay, I don't see the full list. I see like the first 12. Okay, yeah, I think Dominic Davis. I do see him.
Yeah, Dominic Davis is on there.
But I thought there was I don't see the other guy there for some reason. I wonder if I sort by position, I should be able to see.
Okay, practice. If you go on their roster, you can see practice squad. And then you can sort by position. So they got Dominic Davis and Justin Rogers. Is that what you're talking about?
Okay, Justin Rogers, yeah. Yeah, there was kind of a little bit of hype with Justin Rogers. I think there was a lot of, I guess, Cowboys fans thinking that he should have made the team. But yeah, from what I understand, he's like 6'5" or something like that. He's huge.
6'3", 335.
Okay.
Dominic Davis is 6'2", 330.
Yeah.
So they're, I would be shocked if those guys didn't even at least get a look in terms of getting elevated. But I mean, they're probably going to have to elevate at least one of them, assuming that, maybe Jenkins can go. But,
Yeah, I would assume at least one, possibly two. But yeah, if anyone's watching, has anyone heard any updates as far as like Rankins or BJ Hill? I'm fairly confident with BJ Hill. He may even go on IR because like the way he was holding his leg, it seemed like he had some type of hamstring issue. And I feel like with those, that's almost at least a month. But then again, they're saying that T. Higgins should be back probably by this Monday night game against the Giants. I think we're playing the Giants. Is it Giants or the Washington?
Either one would be welcome at this point.
Yeah, it's a home Monday night game.
Let's see here.
Okay, it's Washington. Yeah, so we play Washington, Panthers, Ravens, Giants, Browns. Yeah, those are like 4 games. Like if you hit that 4-game win streak,
okay,
that would basically flip everything.
Like an hour ago, they just said he had a left hamstring injury and he's out for this game.
Who, Rankins?
That's what the Bengals tweeted like an hour ago.
So they both have hamstring issues. Or I'm assuming that's what BJ Hill had because like I was watching that live and I could see him like hold his leg as soon as he went down to the ground. It was like one of the first things I noticed. Because like, oh gosh, that doesn't look good. And then the next thing they show is him like walking into the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it's hard to say because I know a lot can change in a matter of days.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could have just maybe been like some severe cramping or something like that. Or at least I hope. Did they have any updates with BJ Hill?
I don't know. I'm looking at the replies to see if anybody has like an update on it. Just a lot of sad people. Yeah,
because that was a very, very, very winnable game.
Somebody's showing like a. Here, let me share my screen. Present. Share.
Oh yeah, and shout out to Yoshi, 2 touchdowns. That first touchdown was incredible. Broski's getting held in the back right there. What the hell?
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
what
notice
this
that.
guy's complaining about. Look at this.
Jesus.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, like when you watch that live, and then they waited to throw the flag until after he dropped the ball. Isn't that weird that the flag comes out as soon as
Yeah,
he
I mean,
drops
look
the
at-
ball,
look at-
not
look
when
at
he
this.
actually hits
Yeah.
contact? Yeah, no, that's bad right there in the background. But
Yeah.
hit play, watch. He throws the ball, and then there's contact, right? But they don't throw the flag until now. Like what,
Yeah.
dude? Like, come on. That's that. Like, if you see the foul happen occur, right,
Yeah.
in live time at the hit, or like when he gets hit in the air, that's when you throw the flag. Why do you wait until the play's over with? That's weird to me. But I still think it's like 50-50 as far as like if you should call it. But I feel like at the end of the game to dictate if you're going to win or not, or put the other team in field goal position, I feel like the penalty has to be pretty flagrant.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Mac? Didn't get a chance to watch the game. Thanks for the show. Not a problem. We're kind of going through the motions right now, but I mean, overall, it was a very entertaining game, and it felt like, for the most part, the Bengals were in control most of the time. There was things throughout the game where Bengals were doing things sloppy. I mean, really, the biggest turning point was when Burrow fumbled, and they got that touchdown. That definitely changed the momentum. I mean, had he fumbled and they just recovered, I think that still would have changed the complexion of the game a lot. Because to give them that touchdown quickly like that, because when they scored on that fumble, I think they went up. What was it? Yeah, 23-22. So I really felt like that kind of gave them a little bit more confidence. But overall, like, especially in the second half, the Chiefs' offense didn't look that great. I don't think.
No.
I feel like if you take away that,
or the defense played much better, I guess is another way of looking at it.
Well, yeah, the weird part, remember, before Cam Taylor-Britt got his interception, DJ Turner got an interception because I think Logan Wilson caused some pressure. Like I think he came off the edge and blitzed, and then he threw it right up to Turner, but then they called a penalty on us, and then 2 plays later, Cam Taylor-Britt got that pick, and I was like, oh, okay. I felt pretty good that the Bengals were probably going to win that game, but then like going into this game, I've always felt like whoever had the ball last was going to win, and that was
That's
exactly
what you said. That's what you said. Whoever had the ball last. So Chiefs always seem to have the ball last. Last few games. So,
and to be fair, they did. The refs, they did call penalties on the Chiefs offensive line, at least 2 of them on that last drive. I will say that.
Yeah, I know, but if you hold on every single play, isn't that more of an advantage that they just call holding twice? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, don't worry about having a good offensive lineman. Just have them hold every single play.
Yeah, I couldn't get over the first half. It felt like at least through the first 3 quarters, whenever I'm gonna mess up his name, Samata to you, whatever his name is, their left tackle, that's a rookie. Bro was like hooking Hendrickson's neck every single play, and I'm like, that's clearly a penalty, and they didn't even call it until he like eventually clotheslined him, and like, oh, we gotta call that one. But like, dude, you can't like hold someone's neck like that. But they did call the hands to the face, and I think they called a different hold on the other side. But yeah, but I think almost every other play, I feel like they could have had a holding call because it was just that bad, and it was egregious. It was just so obvious. It was just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then there was a few times where I felt like, even I think once or twice on the Bengals side, where I felt like maybe the tackle went early, like, but they didn't call that.
Yeah, I thought Trent Brown went early on a play, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, it was that play where Burrow rolled to the right because he kind of like followed him, and then he was gonna look like he was about to rush, but then he threw it and hit Irwin right in the face mask. He did a little dink doink. It's just, I couldn't believe it, because like the play before that, before Irwin like, or before Burrow threw the ball to Irwin's face mask or whatever, he kind of had a bad throw to Gesicki to the end zone. He kind of underthrew it, but then the next play, he was just like, he threw a dart, and that should have been a touchdown. That was like another play where, yeah, that is pretty bad actually. Like that should be a replay. It says, as a Bengals fan, it was PI. However, the Chiefs were holding Hendrickson. Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Like even when I watched that live, I was like, ooh, he did get there a little bit early. But then the thing you got to take account of, especially in that play, is that it wasn't a perfect pass. If it was a perfect pass and it was actually to the receiver where he was, then yeah, it's PI all day. But the problem was he kind of overthrew Rashee Rice, and I felt like he jumped a bit too early. I mean, they both did, but in that instance, to me, that's like a jump ball, right? And if it's a jump ball, it's just whoever gets it. If they both go up at the same time, and they make because like, how's it not passer interference on the offense then? Because like to me, man. Anthony is more in position because it's a bit overthrown.
Like take the Bengals out of it, right? I was watching. I don't remember which game I was watching. It was Red Zone, right? And they threw a penalty, and the thought crossed my head, like, you know what? Maybe they just need to change the rules. You know, like there are so many penalties that maybe they should just let people grab each other a little bit and not throw so many penalties. You know, because like from watching the game, if every game's decided based on like whether or not they call a penalty, then are we even watching football? Are we watching athletes? Are we just watching like, you know, whatever the referee? It's like the referee show. It's like I mean, well,
that's all I was saying. Like when you call a penalty that puts the other team in position to win, like you gotta make sure it's 100% a penalty, right? Because it's like you're at that point,
it's bad TV. Right?
Well, you're dictating the game, and you're not letting the players play.
Right, because the game turns on what penalties called. Like, that's not sports. It's not supposed to be like that. And I'm not even talking about the Bengals game. I'm just like, there are so many pass interference calls, so many pass interference non-calls that, like, it's random. It's not fun. You just see, like, the flag thrown, and then, like, you know, the announcers will say, well, if you grab the jersey, that's always pass interference. And then like you see Jamar Chase running towards the end zone, and you see the guy grabbing his jersey on the pass route, and there's no pass interference. It's just like, well, okay. But now you're going to call it at the end of the game. You know, it's just nobody wants to watch it. It's bad. Like, it's all about the ref show. They keep putting these guys on TV. These guys are like doing curls in the gym. They're wearing tight T-shirts. They're like got their own little like, you know, skit that they do when they come up, and they, you know, they probably stand in the mirror and like go like holding, no, holding. It's just like, I mean, take it out of the game. Stop putting those guys on TV. Do it like video games. If there's a flag, show the replay, and then don't show the ref. It's just like streakers, right? Like, you know, like when people streak at a baseball game, how like they turn the camera away, because if you show them, what's going to happen? You're going to get more streakers, right? So then they keep putting the refs on TV, and what do you get? More ref show. It's just like, stop it.
So how would you propose, like, say if you're at the stadium, right, and you're watching the game, how would they know what's going on if the ref didn't explain like the penalty?
What do you mean? Just put it on the video screen. Just like a video game. Just like Madden. When you play Madden, if there's holding, there's a little thing in the bottom of the screen that says holding, who it's on, and then just replay the video. Done.
Yeah, I guess, but I feel like that would just create additional time.
No, it would take less time. It takes less time than to have some guy walk to the middle of the field, have everybody clear away from him, and like...
Well, it would definitely take time because you would have to relay the message, and then the person getting the message.
They have a microphone. Just don't put it on the TV.
No, I get it.
Have the same guy, same microphone, but instead of having him call and stand in the middle of the field on the TV, just have him talk to the guy that types it into the computer Holding
but
53.
it would still take a little bit longer. But I
No,
guess
it wouldn't. Take
Yeah, it
less
would.
time.
No, it wouldn't. It would take more
What?
time.
You throw the flag and then you say holding on 53 and then you're done. And then you start doing the thing where you move around the field and you do the clock and the time.
But it would take more time because then
No,
the
it
ref
wouldn't.
that's called because on every play, right, when there's a penalty, they have the refs, they have their little thing and they say this is what's happening, and then the person confirms it over the mic. If you don't do that, then they have their little huddle and they confirm it, and then they have to relay that message to whoever.
No, they don't.
Is gonna,
They have radios.
right.
Literally the same way they tell the TV. They can tell not the TV and just tell somebody who types it in and puts it on the TV without putting their face on the TV. That's
Right,
the
but-
problem. They keep putting their face on TV, so these guys want to be involved.
Yeah, but it still would take longer
No,
because
it
someone's got
wouldn't
to type
take
it out.
longer.
You got to listen
you
to it and
wouldn't.
type it out versus just saying, "Hey, this is what it is."
What are you talking about? It wouldn't take longer. They have to walk to the middle of the field. That takes time. When they go into their huddle, have them all turn their microphones on and have some other guy sit there ready to go. And they go, well, did you see holding on 53? Oh, I think I saw holding on 53. Okay, yeah, let's call it holding on 53. What do you got for time? Blah, blah, blah. And then all that, they're done. Then they all go back to their spots and move the football around. And as they're doing that, the guy
Right,
puts
but
the penalty
someone
up
would
on the
have to
screen.
physically type that out, and that takes longer than just speaking.
No, it doesn't. It
Yeah, it
doesn't
does.
take longer to type
Yes, it does.
holding than it does for the guy to walk to the middle of the field, clear everybody away from him.
Because you
and
just
then
don't say holding. You
on
say
53.
Yeah. You would have to get all the facts right and then confirm it on both sidelines.
They do that already before they go and walk into the middle of the field and talk about it.
Well, I guess we just have to agree to disagree. I don't think it's more or
It's
less
like your worst take ever.
I just feel like it's a very arbitrary thing to get upset about. But that's just me. What I'm saying is it's like to me what matters the most is consistency. I don't care how they present it or how long it takes or if it makes them look good. I just want them to be consistent. That's all I really care about.
Yeah, I mean, they probably should change some rules so they call less penalties. I mean, to me, that's what I'm saying. It's just way too much in the referee's hands to the point where it's just like, what are we watching? Are we watching the referee show? Or are we watching the NFL? And it's way too much referee. Fair or unfair? I'm just tired of seeing them on TV. I'm sick of them wearing 3-piece suits and like explaining the rules to people when they don't even follow the rules. Like they read you the rule and then they say, oh, well, this needs to happen in order for it. And then like you watch it and you're like, well, that's not what they did, you know? Or like you watch a game and you're like, yeah, I just listened to the guy say what holding was. And I just saw this guy do holding, but they didn't call it holding. So why, oh, you know, it's just like these guys the whole referee industry is like taken over sports. They like have way too much impact on it. And they're on TV too much. They need to kick them out of the studios, stop putting their faces on TV, stop showing them in the middle of the field.
No, I agree with that. I think if you didn't put
That's
them on
what I'm
TV,
saying.
but they still got to announce it. I think you can allow them to announce it without putting them on TV. I think both things can
That's fine.
coexist.
Yeah, I don't care.
That's what I'm saying.
If
I'm
wanna
saying it
just
from
have
the
them say
perspective of
it-
the people that are at the stadium, right? Like if you're not watching on TV, like you can pretty much hear everything, right? But if you're at the stadium, you need to know what's going on.
Okay, that's fine. Just
But
stop
yeah,
putting them on TV.
I can see that.
You'll fix a lot of the problem if they're not on TV. Trust me. Like, these dudes are vain as hell because, like, they're dressing up to be on TV, like weather girls or something. And it's just like, if you stop putting them on TV, you would get less penalties and less of their BS because they're doing it just so they can be on TV.
Hey, you leave Ed Hockley alone, okay?
How many holding calls do you think Ed Hockley called just because he was like, I got a good arm pump today.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Nobody's
saying.
held yet. I need to do this motion, you know, because it looks good. You know what I mean? It's just like, come on, man.
Well, I don't know. I guess. What was that? Ex Colts head coach, or no. I think it was the Vikings head coach that said it. We let them get away.
They are who we thought they were.
Yeah.
Well,
We let them get away. That's what
the
this
Chiefs.
match felt like with the Chiefs. Is like the Bengals were in the position to win it. Yeah, it's just a weird game because it's like when I reflect back on it, it's just like they were in control the whole time. The only thing I think that really held them back, obviously, was the run defense. But then those times where they had to score touchdowns and ended up taking field goals, and then that missed, the missed extra point, and then the fumble that went for the touchdown. All those little mistakes was enough to allow the Chiefs to basically take it at the end with the field goal. I mean, had they played a little bit better, if Irwin would have made that catch in the end zone, it would have been a different game. I mean, not to say he was in perfect position, but the ball literally hit him in the face mask. I mean, you can't throw it any better than that. So it sucks. There was 2 times where they went in the red zones where I think they ended up taking a field goal versus, and they were on the goal line too. It wasn't just like they were in the red zone. I think they were basically within the 5-yard line. And it's like, you got to score on that, especially the Chiefs. But I guess if there's any silver lining, at least they lost early in the year against them, and hopefully if they were to play them like again in the playoffs, they can learn from some of these mistakes.
You're going to go
hopefully it's
anyways.
at home
You might as well have it against the hard teams. I mean, really, the only downside to the start is that, we should have played another contender. Although the Patriots are 2-0, so Bengals are looking up at the Patriots as well.
No, the Patriots lost.
Oh, they lost? Oh,
but I still think they're a better team than what people realized. Because
that's right. They lost to Seattle.
Yeah, it went into overtime. Yeah, it was but they're
not better than we think they are.
I think they're better than what people realize is because they're so far behind. They're actually ahead, and the reason why I say that, no, seriously, because they're still an old school team that relies on the run and just old school defense. And I feel like that's actually going to be pretty successful.
Well, Ramondre Stevenson had a Ramondre Stevenson game. 21 carries, 84 yards.
Well,
that's Ramondre Stevenson, not 20 carries, 100 and however many, 50 or 160 yards he had.
The pattern I see throughout the league is that defenses were more willing to drop back and protect against the big play. And I'm noticing a lot of other teams that are committed to the run take full advantage of it, and it seems like a lot of these teams that are taking advantage of the run or winning. So I can see this consistently happening throughout the year.
The Patriots didn't win today then?
Probably because the Seattle Seahawks outran them, if I had to guess.
Yeah, they tackled better because Ramondre Stevenson had like his normal output.
But I mean, if you look at like the Steelers, Chargers, like they're having a lot of success running.
Well, it's just basic football. If you can't stop the run, then you should. If the other team can't stop the run, you should never stop running.
I think it's just going to be one of those things where it's going to be mid-year before defensives kind of realize, like, we kind of have to protect against the run, and it'll kind of throw some of these offenses in check. But I think for now, these teams that are really committed to the run have an advantage. Or at least what it seems like to me.
I don't agree.
It's the year of the running back.
It doesn't. It's just playing style. I mean, if you've got a good defense, then
it's just the evolution of the league. Year over year for the last 4 years, when the passing hit its peak, it's gone down. Like if you look at the passing touchdowns and like from week to week, it's gone down dramatically, and it feels like the defense have caught up. And where they're going to be the most vulnerable, the run. I'm just saying. I know it's early, but that's just kind of what I see right now.
Okay.
And to be fair, I'm not saying like I watch all of the other games, but I do watch like a handful of games at a time. So I can kind of see, and it's kind of crazy how the league kind of mimics each other from team to team. Because like I was watching the Browns and Steelers game earlier today, and it felt like they had the same score. It was like when one team would score, like on the other game, the same like opposing team would score. Because at one point it felt like they had the same spread. It was like almost an identical game. I'm like, man, this is truly a copycat league.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Like I said, it feels like the passing's down across the league if you just look at the numbers, and it feels like the rushing has gone up. Just look. J.K. Dobbins. I was like in the back of my head, I was like, the Bengals should look at him. Like I know he's got an injury history, but dude is tearing it up this year. If he's healthy, he's really good.
Yeah, I mean that's always been the thing. That's why I wasn't so worried about Derrick Henry going to the Ravens. I was like, the player that scares me is a healthy J.K. Dobbins, not Derrick Henry.
They should have used that money on a guard because, ironically, like he's not. I mean, he had some pretty good carries this week when I watched the game, or today, I should say. But most of his runs were for like 2 or 3 yards. Like he had a few big runs that kind of like made it seem better than what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the Ravens are going to be in some trouble if they have to consistently play from behind. They've never been built to play from behind. They're 100%. If they're in a lead, they're just going to dominate you, especially if they could have a lead up to the second half, because they can just run it and just wear you down. But they can't really run it. They're forced to have to pass if you're trying to catch up, or if you're down by a position or two. So it's like, that's what I'm noticing is it's like they kind of they should have spent that money on a guard. Like it's ironically, if they would have spent that money on the guard, they would have probably had a little bit more success or been a little bit more consistent running it. Because a lot of their big plays are just from Lamar Jackson, just like making something out of nothing. It's not necessarily coming from Derrick Henry. But part of the reason is that their guards or their interior line is getting blown up and he's getting hit in the backfield. So it's like, that's how you stop Derrick Henry, is you stop him before he gets going. If he gets past the line of scrimmage, that's usually where you get trouble, but he's consistently getting hit either at or behind the line. So I'm interested to see how it goes. This is the first time the Ravens started 0-2. I think they said since like 2020, or it's been a little while. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. For us, this is nothing new. This is just another year. So whatever.
Yeah.
We don't start to warm up until like week 6 or week 5 or whatever. So
let's hope we warm up week 3.
But I mean,
we cannot lose
silver lining
football team.
Overall,
Commanders
week 2 versus other week 2s, Bengals look drastically better. They cannot squander these games against bad teams. No. I mean,
they need to get back to 500.
Yeah, 100%.
In the next few weeks.
Well, the next 4 weeks are going to be crucial. Like, they should be able to get to 2-2 in the next by I guess week 5, or going into week 5, because they're playing they play Washington and then Carolina, and Carolina looks like dog crap. So I haven't really seen much positive about Carolina. And then Washington. So I mean, I don't know. It's Monday night. It's a home game. I totally expect the Bengals to come out. And is it going to be the all white? No. That I think that's against the Eagles.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they'd do something special with the Monday night game. Maybe they'll wear the orange pants with the black jerseys Monday night. That'd be cool. But I guess, did you have any final thoughts for this match?
No. I think we said it all.
Yeah.
I just want to get to next week where we can win.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it felt pretty good until he made that field goal. Like I didn't think it was a shoe-in until I saw he actually kicked it and go in the air, and it looked pretty center. All the way up to that point, I didn't think it was like, I thought there was a chance. The one
thing about that kick, though, is it I can't remember who it was, but it looked like we almost got the block. Like we got through the line and got a hand.
Oh, we did?
It was close.
Yeah. It sucks because it just felt like one of those games where we should have won, just looking back. But like I said, silver lining, we're ahead of schedule technically as far as performance, because if you look at the last 3 or 4 years, like our second week performances haven't been that great.
Yeah.
But we looked legit, and for the most part, we were in control against the 2-time Super Bowl champions Chiefs. So that's got to account for something. And I guess the only other thing I got to say about this, hopefully the whole thing with Jamar Chase, I get it, dude. This is not the start anyone wanted. You're not having the production that we're used to, but I just hope they can keep everything in-house and get past whatever just happened, and hopefully it doesn't become a bigger deal than what it is. It could be emotional. The Chiefs, and I know that game means a lot to the Bengals. But for the most part, they played pretty good, and they gave them their money's worth, and they made Patrick Mahomes look like dog crap. Like, he did not look like Patrick Mahomes most of that match. So I know there's not really moral victories, but to me, that's the silver lining. And it's just like, if they get better than what they were from this week and like they did from the previous week, there's no doubt in my mind that they should steamroll the Washington football team, or whatever, the Commanders.
Yeah, they're Commanders.
But yeah, all right. Well, I guess we'll be back Friday with our prediction.
Yeah,
and then
should do Friday.
I mean, maybe we could do Saturday, because it's a Monday night game, so we won't actually have if you're still want to do the reactions, it won't be until like late in the evening on Monday. So
yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I'm down too. So
I mean, because I won't be able. It's like you watch the games, you're so like wired. It's not like you're gonna fall asleep, you know.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll have something to cheer about next week, but hopefully, and I would like to see like a convincing win. That would be nice. But at the end of the day, we just need a win, and we just need to start that momentum. And if I can see the next 4 weeks, very crucial. They need to, I guess, start stacking those wins, because if you win the next 4 weeks, end it 4-2, but part of the 4 week span is against the Browns and Ravens. So you win the next 4 weeks, you can guarantee yourself to at least be second in the division. So there it is.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Peace.